today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
It was Valentine's Day for the LAPD mid-Wilshire officers, but also kind of a no good, very bad day for a couple of them as well. This week on another episode of Shop Talk, we're discussing 806, another Valentine's Day for our favorite characters. Chenford's first one since they got back together, and so much more. So we'll jump into our recap right after we talk about a little bit of the news. Do you want to take it away with the episode seven?
Yeah, so for next week's episode, the description reads Harper and Lucy go undercover in Baja while investigating the murder of two young women. Back in LA, Bradford and the FBI task force assist in the investigation, while Nolan and Bailey navigate their long distance relationship.
Okay. The episode description kind of spoiled the ending for Bailey and Nyla. Like, because it came out before we saw this episode, obviously. So it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, she takes the job and they do long distance. So,
I mean, I figured it was like inevitable.
mhm,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, because I didn't officially make a decision until this week's
yeah,
episode. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And the promo photos for 807 dropped today, Tuesday
Mm,
when we're recording this, and they look so good. I'm so excited for Nyla
yeah.
and Lucy to go undercover. We have an episode description for 808 as well, which will air on February 23rd. And Nolan and Garza lead a high-stakes operation that quickly goes south. Lucy and Tim navigate their relationship when an unexpected visitor shows up. Meanwhile, the team conducts a citywide search for a suspect. So the unexpected visitor is Tim's mom.
I mean, everyone's saying that, and I just like kind of completely forgot that that was like a thing. That like I had forgotten that that was the big thing that everyone was like talking about because Eric, was like, I mean, he's been on that train for like ever,
Uh-huh.
but like then it's like actually happening. So it's like, I don't know. I guess I just didn't put two and two together as well.
Yeah.
But that was what
I mean,
that
they
meant.
still haven't said
So
who's playing her, so
yeah,
not that I know of, but I didn't see anything come out. So,
no idea.
and more Garza, so that's cool. I'm liking that
Yeah.
we're still seeing quite a bit of Gray, like we did in this episode. We presumably will next week because the FBI task force and then Garza too. So,
Hmm.
yeah. And then going back to 807, it looks like Tim is gonna be all worried, Tim, for Lucy going undercover. So that's gonna
Sounds about
be,
right.
yeah, that's gonna be a new dynamic-ish for them to navigate with them being together. So.
Hmm.
And then it looks like the Rookie North starts filming in Vancouver on February 24th. So they just wrapped up the Rookie and then they're gonna go into doing the Rookie North. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I saw the Rookie behind the scenes social media accounts like asked how they want or how fans and followers would want them to cover the Rookie North content. So I was like, I voted, I was like, both. Just I want it all. Like I want it all. So, so we'll go right into our episode and we'll start off with the main storyline-ish of the day where it was someone setting more than hearts on fire. So John and Miles make an arrest. I mean, obviously before this, has a curse upon him. Like he is just not having a very good day. So after they make the arrest with just like a random guy that they meet on the street, Miles like sticks his hand in the guy's pocket, to kind of search him and gets a bit by spiders. And he like pulls his arm out and like shakes them all off. And Nolan's just standing there like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? And they look over to see a swan boat on fire. So John puts that out with the fire extinguisher, and Bailey walks up, and they don't know who started the fire. No one was on the boat. So she smells gasoline and laundry detergent, and she's like, basically it's napalm. set by Pro using a mechanism to delay the ignition. So she finds the mechanism and explains how it would work. She mentions that their first call that morning was at a dry cleaner with a coil that looked just like the one she's holding. So the two fires are related. Swan and Siegfried. Miles says that it's the story of Swan Lake. So Bailey offers to lend her arson expertise to the investigation because, of course, she's an arson expert. I mean, what can't she do? Granted, like as a firefighter, you would hope that she would know, but it just, yeah, of course, of course. So she walks into the station to see Miles, who's all excited to start learning about arson. And she tells him that there are seven things they look for, and he's only able to list off two, but John gets the rest. Probably because like they talk about it or something. And so she tells them that when she puts the facts through the arson database, Arnold McKenna's name popped out. And he's been a fire starter for the last 20 years. His motive is revenge. And he burned down the home of a former employer, a carpet cleaner that stiffed him, and then an ex-girlfriend's car that he claimed she cheated on him. So, but the swan boat is a disconnect, and it'd be new for him because he just doesn't set thematic fires. So Bailey tells John to he'll have to go get Arnold solo so that she can give some medical attention to Miles. So John and Angela are interviewing Arnold, and he says he has a rock solid alibi, and it turns out he was home alone. So not so rock solid. They bring up the dry cleaners too, and after he says he was on Echo Lake. So John reads off the ingredients of the accelerant, including orange juice, like orange juice concentrate to make it extra sticky. And Arnold says he didn't patent it, but John questions if he taught it to someone. And so Bailey then tells them that the LAFD put out a fire at a bakery and they found a half-burned mosquito coil at the scene. So there's no way this is Arnold, but he obviously is a copycat. So Angela's going to go get a court order to tap his phone in case he reaches out. And then meanwhile, John and Miles pull up to Mandy Fisk's house, who did 6 months in prison for arson. And then, we find out that Arnold McKenna called her the previous night. So Miles just seems a little off. And we find out that the elevator door caught him good as he was leaving this morning. Poor guy cannot catch a break during this episode.
No.
So John tells Miles to clear the couch, and he's like, carefully, carefully clear it. And they start telling her what all of this is about. She seems kind of just quiet about it. She claims she heard static on the line, so she hung up when Arnold called. She didn't know who that was. They obviously call her bluff. They're like, the call lasted 3 minutes, so you're lying to us. She tells them how she knows Arnold. They ended up being in the same halfway house when she got out of prison, and he took a shine to her, telling, like, kept boasting about how powerful he was gonna be, thinking like it was gonna help him get with her. But he didn't listen when she told him no, and so she's like, I didn't steal his special method for starting fires, and that's what the phone call was about. And then her partner Sally walks in and she's all excited about the bakery fire. And she's like, Mandy, check out my phone. Like, I have this video. She walks in to see John and Miles there, and they've got them. They're the fire starters. And so as they're putting them in the back of the shop, we see Arnold is watching them, as a good villain in The Rookie does. So John and Miles are booking Mandy and Sally. And Mandy is confessing that she started all the fires, but they already have Sally's confession and the video evidence. So like Mandy, they can't really do anything to help Sally. So Mandy doesn't want Sally to pay the price for all this, but there's nothing can do, obviously. So as Celina and Lucy are driving, they're like going to pull into the police parking garage. They end up hitting Arnold, and they don't realize that it's him. But he puts a fire starter under the shop and just like walks off with the hat on, everything. So they're the same entrance though, where Greg was hit as well, who was the
Oh,
customer. Yeah, I caught that on my second rewatch.
I didn't get that. I was like, what? I was like, when else did something happen at this entryway?
Yeah.
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
it's the entryway to go back to the station. That I also caught on the second rewatch because the signs around them. Because I was like, where are they going? That's the same place twice. And I was like, oh, it makes sense going back to the station. So and it makes sense why Arnold was waiting there because I mean you want to catch any of the shops that are going in. So Lucy's like, this entrance is what's cursed. Like, not anything else, it's this entrance. So Miles is sitting on the steps in the Sallyport filling out paperwork. When Lucy and Celina pull in, they don't like see him or anything. Lucy suggests taking Miles to go get this curse off of him ASAP. So, as they're walking into the station, Tim like gets off the phone. Just how everything is moving is so cool to see. Um, and then the shop blows up and blowing up part of the station or, setting off an explosion, creating fires everywhere. Tim's quite literally thrown across the office. Someone's thrown over the staircase railing. It's mass chaos and disaster. Miles is like even thrown into like the wall or something. Lucy and Celina seem okay. They've got to help everyone. Those two are, the heroes of all of this. Um, so Selena's got a huge piece of glass in her arm, and first thing on her mind is finding Miles. She's like, I have to find him. And Lucy tells her, go get all the respirators from the kit room, like immediately first thing. And so someone reaches for Lucy and grabs her ankle, and she like turns around to help them. But we never really know who that is. So I was kind of like, okay, is that Officer Jan? Like, is that just a random officer? We see Tim lying on the ground unconscious under his desk. Like, I love how it panned from her and it just like we saw him. So he starts coughing, so he's still alive, but he's not doing well. Celina ends up getting the glass out of her arm and all the respirators. She starts to walk out, but here's Nyla calling for help, who's trapped under something on fire. So then we go over to John and Angela, and they're okay too. They're walking around, like trying to help. They go to the holding cells where Mandy and others are calling for help, trying to open the doors, but they're jammed shut. And then we cut over to Miles, who's surrounded in flames more, still knocked out. Fire's getting worse. Tim's coughing and calling for help, but he's pretty weak as well. Lucy comes to find him, lifts the dust off of him, and they get out of there, but not before she gives him her respirator. So John and Angela are still working at the holding cell doors, and Angela's like, we can't stay, like we have to go. And John's not leaving that behind. He has such a moral compass. Like, I get it. You don't want to leave them behind. But also, like, at the same time, the doors, I don't know. But then LAFD comes to the rescue and gets Sally and Mandy out, who are both now unconscious. So then, last but not least, Celina ends up finding Miles, pulls him out. She has to, like, kick down the door or whatever. Um, we go over to the hospital where Arnold is walking up to the check-in desk to check on Mandy Fisk, saying she was burned in that fire and everything. Gray and Angela come around the corner and they're absolutely enraged. Arresting him, telling him that he's going to prison for the rest of his life. We see Wesley run up to Angela. He hugs her, telling her that he thought he lost her. They kiss. Like, it's just the cutest little Lopez moment ever. I mean, they obviously had a great episode, but loved that moment. And so we then see Lucy and Tim sitting on the same hospital bed, and they're pulling glass pieces out of Lucy's arm. And Tim's sitting right next to her, thanking her for the save, and she's like, well, it would be great if we never had to survive a fire again. Okay, but that's like Chenford's thing, isn't it? Just like Lopez's thing is murder boarding and arguing, like Chenford survives fires together. I don't know. That's pretty like badass if you ask me. So, so Nyla is sitting there with a bandage on her head. Like, how is she not more banged up, like in the hospital bed or something? Um, so she's sitting there with a bandage on her head. Lopez comes out, tells her that, James should be landing any minute. They had to talk each other, like James and Wesley had to talk each other down on the way like on Wesley's way over. Which I'm a little sad that we didn't get to see that scene or even like a snippet of it, because I feel like that just
Hmm.
embodies like what their worst fear is and what they always have to go through.
Yeah.
So they sit, Wopez sits down next to Nyla, Angela's sitting on Wesley's leg, and they just spend time together and favorite trio. Like more,
Yeah.
I just need everything with them. Give me a spin-off with them, please. Um,
Yeah.
and it was nice to see them have that moment because of everything that happened with them, which you'll get into. But ugh, I just love them. So last but not least, we see Miles is in his hospital bed. He's the only one who's not conscious. Um, with Celina sitting off to the side in a chair. She's just like deep in thought. Raj walks in, asks how he's doing. Miles has a concussion, lots of blunt force trauma, bruising, second-degree burns. And Selena says it could have been worse, but Raj reminds her that she saved him, even though she counters that with it was her fault and he was in danger in the first place because of her. But Raj tells her that the curse has been lifted. He gave Rhiannon the $1,000 to lift the curse, and she promised it's effective right away. So Selena's like, "Oh my God, I'll pay you back." And Raj is like, "Don't worry about it. I'm loaded with all the merch that I sold on tour." Okay. I need to see the Daddy Cop merch that he's got.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, that's about it for the whole like setting hearts on fire, station explosion storyline. It was a lot. There was a lot of like going back and forth, but it was good.
Yeah. That was good. So we have Lopez and Nyla, like Jennifer said earlier, they had like a good episode. Um, and so we first start off with seeing Wesley and Nyla are in the DA's office going over the Liam Glasser case, and he's explaining to her that they can't charge him with Remy Barton's murder because Wesley obviously had to go with the strongest cases for Glasser to try and get a conviction. And apparently Remy's father Gabriel like keeps calling Nyla to check in on like how the case is, and is obviously not going to be too happy about that outcome since he's still grieving. And Wesley said that he'll like talk to him later about it. Um, and Nyla's still worried about how her deposition is going to go, but Wesley said that they're basically going with what they've got. But with that being said, it has to basically be perfect, which doesn't really help now with how Nyla's. Um, and so later at Nyla's deposition, she's caught up in what she originally said to Liam about the crimes, like threatening to hang the murders around him. Um, and she had said that without actually having physical evidence against him. So now her testimony is basically like trashed, and she could be called as a hostile witness later on, according to Wesley. Um, and that's not all because of her conduct, apparently. Not only is their case on the rocks, but now Wesley is the one that has to report, um, like what Nyla said to IA for investigation, because if he didn't, then Glasser's attorney would. Um, yeah, so that's a little bit awkward considering, like Angela and Nyla are BFFs, Jamie and Leslie are BFFs. Like, you can't like have all this tension.
Mhm.
And obviously, it doesn't go well for Lopez either because while they're at Nolan's house for this fundraising event, Angela confronts Wesley about Nyla, and she like can't believe he's gonna turn her in, but like he has to, and he is like think about like who you should be mad at in the grand scheme of things, um, and they kind of have to like they're like trying to talk, but then they have to put their tensions on hold because there's photographers taking more pictures of them at this party fundraising event thing, and during the party, Wesley is, giving a little bit of a toast or like beginning speech. about how he wants to, stamp out injustice no matter, what race or class you are, etc. And while he's talking, uh, he's attacked by Gabriel because Gabriel had been confronted earlier by news reporters that like Wesley's office wasn't going forward with the murder charges. So um, Wesley's attacked by Gabriel, who calls him a liar and brandishes a knife. And Wesley manages to subdue him though, and um, Nolan and Chen like cuff Gabriel and take him away. And so the next day, Wesley's actions have made him out to be a hero, even gaining support from the other side, like the other political party side. And so, like, everyone's happy about that. And, you know, Angela's appreciative of, his protectiveness, although she didn't need it. Um, but poor Wesley's worried about how, like, he was with Gabriel, given that he's a grieving father. Um, and Angela kind of just reminds him that it's like, it's not easy, but he has to kind of roll with it, like being a saint and a badass at the same time. Um, so, um, and like, so that's obviously weighing on Leslie and the fact that, like, I mean, like, Nyla didn't even get to go to the fundraiser, and because she still has to be like cleared by IA and everything for her testimony to be good in court. So like her and Angela's friendship needs to be professional for now until things blow over. And they like talk about that at the station, and you can like see that they're both disappointed about that outcome. Um, Although obviously that doesn't last long because, like you said, at the hospital, like Wopez is hugging and they go to check on Nyla.
Mm-hmm.
They, you know, put that keeping things professional, they put that aside until the next day. So that for now, all is well for them, that they can, be like back to their normal selves, and everyone can be friends with everyone and be outside of work, and that's all okay for now anyway.
Yeah. What did you think of this storyline? Because this was like a new side of Wesley that we haven't seen much.
It was like interesting to see how he kind of navigates like his, I don't know, how do I put this, like how he navigates. I mean, yes, we've seen him navigate his work life and his personal life before, but it was kind of just interesting to see him like be like, okay, no, you have to do this, or this has to go. Like he was kind of a little, not demanding, that I don't want to mean that in like a negative connotation, but just like more like he kind of had to like really stand his ground and be like, okay, this is like what actually needs to happen for this to be done, and da 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 da. Like he had to like lay everything out and kind of
Yeah.
like deal with it all not going how he wanted it to, even though he did lay it out. Um, I don't know. It was like interesting, but I feel like that's not the last that we're gonna see of like difficulties for him in this
Mm-hmm.
race for DA. Um, Especially since like, you know, he even thought that his opponent Vivian was the one that, leaked the story to the media or whatever, to report on Gabriel. And so it's like, will he have to actually deal with that? Like people leaking, I don't know, like personal info about him down the line or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. That's really
Yeah.
all I can say, I guess.
Yeah. I really liked seeing this side of him. Like we said, like you said, we haven't seen much of it. Like we've seen it before, but not much. But I feel like he's really gonna have to toe this line more, right? Because he's good friends with all of them.
Hmm.
And at some point they're all gonna come into his office and have like a case that, has his name on it or whatever, especially as DA. So like
Yeah.
um, he's really just gonna have to like really draw that line more of being friends versus, like I'm here to help you and I need to make you look good. But I also think it was really interesting to see the first time that he really has to do that. Like it's with Nyla. It's not just with Tim or Lucy or whatever that like, he has a good relationship with, but he's not as close. So seeing that with Nyla and they're, really close,
Yeah,
it was good. I thought it just played very well into Sean's acting abilities as well. Like we haven't seen that much from Wesley before. Like we have,
yeah,
but it was different and I really liked that. So I want more of
yeah. Well, especially when they were like in the deposition room, or I guess like kind of like a little bit before it and then like during it, like the looks between them,
it.
like when
Hmm.
Nyla realized like, oh shit, I kind of like messed this up.
Yeah.
And Wesley was like actually looked like mad. I mean, like as he
Yeah.
should be, I'd be frustrated too, but it was just like interesting because usually he's so sunshiny and happy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like whatever. But he was pissed.
Yeah. Well, even like
So
when Angela like stormed into the room and was like, what is this that I hear? Like it's
right.
even going to affect Angela and like the
Yeah.
friendships that she has in a way. But even just seeing him like get like that with her, like I don't like that they were arguing, but also at the same time, like this just has to happen. Especially with like their jobs and the campaign and everything. So yeah, it's really interesting. Plus, we know at some point Seth Gable, who played Glasser, comes back. So like that's gonna be
Right.
crazy too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was a good storyline. I'm glad that they let that play out. So I'm interested to see what else happens. I also wonder when we're going to get like the final, like the results of it, right? Like Vivian or
Hmm.
Wesley, like who's winning that? Because they said that he's ahead in the polls. Um,
Right.
but Vivian's like also, kind of trailing behind him. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I wonder like how long it'll go for. I thought it was interesting how James wasn't at the fundraiser though. Like
Yeah.
they said he was landing. Where's he coming from? And also, why wasn't he at his BFF's fundraiser? Like that just seemed weird to me.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah. Next we have Celina and Miles. And Miles, oh, this poor baby. Like, come on. But Celina also was like, she was going through it too.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly, like I felt like the day that Miles had was like my day kind of today. Just like little
yeah.
things kept going wrong where I was just like not having it. So
Uh-huh.
to like watch because I didn't catch it last night. So to watch the episode today, I was like, yep, that's me. I feel
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, yeah. So they're walking into a crystal shop, and Selena's explaining, which ones will help Miles, and that she's picking up one for Roger's safety on the way home from tour. And they walk into to like a heated argument between the shop owner and a customer. And she ends up putting a curse on the customer, and Miles gets caught in the middle of it, getting hit in the face. So when Miles sees John the next day at the station, I loved how John was like, "What happened to your face?" Like,
Right.
I was like, "Okay, you're like whatever." And so he says, or Miles says, Selena believes that it's a curse and regarding his eye injury, but he doesn't believe in that kind of thing. And then he ends up spraying pepper spray into his eyes, sending everyone out of the locker room, and he's like falling into them. And I love that Gray comes in and he's like, "Who's the idiot that deployed pepper spray?" And John's like, "That's Miles. It's a curse." Gray's
Yeah,
like,
he just like literally threw him under the bus. I was like,
"Uh-huh.
wow, John, like you haven't done something stupid before. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've done like multiple things, but whatever." But then I love how Gray was like, "Oh, no, I don't need to say anything else. That tracks."
Yeah, they just walked out and left him, and I was like, oh, shit, that sucks.
John did like kind of trail back and like keep an eye on him, but even then it was like, yeah, okay, like what else are they gonna do? But also like it's in his eyes and he's supposed to work. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Um, so Selena and Lucy are driving, and Selena's, all in her head about, feeling guilty and everything with Miles. And she's like, it was instinct. I saw it coming, and, my job is to run towards danger, not use my partner for cover. And I saw some people fixating on the fact that she used the word partner on Twitter. And I was like,
And I noticed that too, though.
yes. I was
I
like,
think just like in that context, maybe as opposed to just like roommate instead of like
yeah.
partner. since like they weren't on the job, like
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. They've been
But
partners before. Like not, driving and like, partners for today context, but and she's like, does this make me a coward? And so Lucy gives her a pep talk and she's like, curses aren't real. Miles is gonna be okay. Like cut yourself some slack. And then we transition to Miles and John, who are, arresting someone, and they find the spiders. And Miles is like, this still isn't confirmation of the curse. Weird stuff happens all the time on shift, right? And John suggests Miles takes an Uber back to the station for John's safety. He's actually a walking caution sign. Like,
right.
now you're worried about your safety? Like,
Yeah. Like
all right.
where was that when you were crashing five shops or
Yeah,
like getting like, hit by people or like
right.
punched by grandmothers or
Yeah,
stung by bees or whatever else has happened
yeah.
to him in the millions of cold opens.
Yeah, but he's
Like, I
worried
don't know.
about Miles and his like.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Oh my
like
God.
John,
Yeah. Okay. So it's
please
like the
stop.
rookie rewatch people. If you guys are listening, you should make like a compilation of like all the stupid things that have happened to John Nolan and like he's worried for his safety. Please. Like, well, because they made that one video after
Yeah,
they heard us talk about John last episode. I thought that was so funny that they
yeah,
ended it with him like holding out the cups for Miles. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, compilation of stupid shit that happens to John,
I
basically.
second that. We need that on social media this week. It needs to happen. Um,
Or if someone has already made it, like please send it to us so we can like
yeah,
repost it and share it and just
yeah.
laugh about it. Because
Honestly, it would be like one of the best things that I would see all week, I'm sure. So
yeah, yeah,
you could even title it "Stupid Shit John Nolan has done." Like,
right, yeah.
So Raj calls Celina and she suggests having dinner tomorrow. And, she's like, if you're okay having dinner with a coward. And I'm like, Celina, I get it. You feel bad for yourself, but like you're
I
not
know.
one. You're just overthinking it.
Yeah,
So just as Lucy says, clearly the curse didn't stick with her because, her and Raj are uh, fine and everything. They almost hit the guy who's at the crystal shop as well, who's panicking and explains his warning, and he's just like he's he's unwell.
yep.
And Selena's like, you should go back to the crystal shop, beg for forgiveness, get the curse off, like even beg to pay her. And just as he runs off, he's literally Regina George hit by a truck.
Hmm.
I kind of can't believe that we saw that. Like, not that we saw him. Let me rephrase. I can't believe that we saw him actually get hit by the truck.
Yeah,
Like the stunt itself. And then saw their reactions. I didn't really need to see him get hit. I could have just seen their reactions and been fine.
yeah, or just like heard it, I guess. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was interesting. It was like super quick though, so I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it didn't mean to be like in there or something since it
Right.
was so quick. Like they just kind of forgot to like cut
Yeah.
the part of it out. I don't
And the
know.
stunt team did really well with it, but it was
Yeah,
just like, okay. We saw it on one of the other shows that we watch, and I don't really remember how that one was, if it was graphic too, but I was just like, yikes. He
yeah.
was actually Regina George. And I don't know, it was a weird moment right there. So Selena's sitting on the steps at the station after thinking about Greg Clark, the customer from before, when the TID guy walks up. And at this point, we still don't have a name for him.
Did
Um,
we not? Do we really not? Gosh. Wow. Okay.
we did later in the episode. We
Oh,
caught
okay. I was
it,
like,
but it
right.
wasn't like known at that
Okay.
point.
Gotcha.
So he walks up, she explains the curse, starts spiraling, and he's like, you received two commendations for bravery in the last 2 months. Like, no one can call you a coward. And she's like, she wonders how he knows that. And he's like, oh, I looked you up after our last case together. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
that's nice, but I don't know. Like, I guess she did kind of show interest in him with giving him her phone number, but even then, like,
Right.
that was her on the job. Like, it's an easier way to get a hold of her. So
Yeah.
he wonders if she's going to the big party, and she's like, yeah, the fundraiser, and he seems unsure about it. And then she's like, you should go and donate $20 or something. And he's like, well, if you want me to, then I will. And so Miles comes down the stairs and his other eye is all red. And it turns out he's allergic to the spiders. But he took some Benadryl, so he should be all good. He's like, I slammed some Benadryl, so I should be good. And I'm like,
Oh, is that
wait
what
a
he
minute.
said? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Can't that like make you
Oh,
drowsy?
get some like what is it? Allergy meds or antihistamines or whatever the heck they are. Can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the one, but I'm like, and you're on the job, but you know what? You got to take care of the allergic reaction.
Hmm.
So she tells him that they have to go back to the crystal shop and have the curse reversed. And she's like, the guy that it was aimed at was hit by a truck. And Miles is like, okay, but I can't go right now. So
Yep.
Celina meets up with TID guy at the fundraiser, and she's all happy that he made it. Um, like he goes in for a hug and a kiss, and she's like, "Oh no, no, this is not what is happening." And then Raj shows up because why not? And they hug, kiss, everything, and the TID guy is just standing there, all confused and heartbroken, and he's like, "Yeah, read that situation wrong."
Yeah.
Um, and he's like, you asked me out, and Celina does damage control, telling Rod she didn't, and she reiterates that she said to the TID guy that he should come to the fundraiser and that it'd be fun. And she's like, I realized how that could have been misinterpreted. And that wasn't my intention. So Raj asks if he has anything to worry about, and he's like, I'm too jet lagged to follow all this. And so Selena apologizes, mentions his name is Gilmar, which we now know that after
Okay.
an episode and a half at this point. And IMDb didn't have that either because I was looking for it this morning. I was like, this guy surely has a name and we just don't know it. Like even a last name. But it's Gilmore, alas. So we see, them talk a little bit more, and then Selena sees this guy enter the house, which at first I thought it was Angela and Wesley's house. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I kept forgetting it was Nolan's house.
Like I thought it was their house, and I was like, why are they doing pictures in Nolan in the bedroom?
I know, it was so awkward.
And then I was like, even more awkward when they're doing it in Nolan's room. Like the lady taking the picture, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
kind of weird, but so this guy is going after Wesley. We know that she apologizes to Gilmore again, walks off, following her intuition, and so we see this whole like spat turn out and everything. Selena calls Rihanna, the crystal shop owner, who has her lawyer with her, and she obviously needs the curse lifted, will do anything for it, including giving her $1,000 for it. So as Selena and Lucy are driving, talking about Rhiannon wanting to pay off to lift the curse, Lucy doesn't like it. Neither does Selena, but Selena's like, I gotta save Miles, but I'm taking my crystal business elsewhere after this. And that's kind of where we leave off with it.
Mm,
So yeah. I don't know. I felt bad for Selena, like she was really in her own head about this, but at the same
mhm.
time, like you know, you didn't know what was going to happen. And
Yeah,
as far as Gilmar and like the whole like almost kiss and hug thing, we had this with Aaron a few seasons ago too.
that's true.
And like I don't know. I don't think it's Selena necessarily like doing it intentionally. She's not, but it's the way that she like comes across to people that like might it leads them on to think that she's like got, feelings or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's just
Which
Selena's
like,
personality.
yeah, because like honestly, I felt like she would have like hugged people,
Mhm.
like anyway, but definitely not obviously not the kiss part of like
Yeah.
of him trying to initiate that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
awkward.
I just thought it was funny how like the TID guy comes up and Miles or like he's walking away and Miles is coming up and then like Gilmar comes up and Raj is there and everything. Like Gilmar was just like in the middle of all these triangles because
Yeah,
not that Miles and Selena are a couple or anything yet. They're not like working towards that. People ship them.
yeah.
And so I could easily see like, M- Gilmar also getting in the way of that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Celina and Roger are cute though. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, take us through Chenford.
So it starts off with them. Well, this is the sneak peek that people saw earlier, but um, we see Lucy's on the phone with Tim's sister Jenny, who's stuck in traffic, and she's telling her, she can't find the autographed baseball that she got for Tim forever ago for Valentine's Day. And she thinks that she re-hit it after drinking one night, but she can't remember where. So she's going to keep ripping up some floorboards until Jenny calls her back because she has another call coming in from Tim. And so then we see Tim on the phone now with Jenny, freaking out because the super expensive Korean skincare set that he bought for Lucy for Valentine's Day never arrived. So now he has no gift for her either. And Jenny suggests jewelry, but Tim thinks that's cliche. And before he can really say much else, he has to hang up on her because, of course, they're both talking to Jenny in the same house. Like, how they
Hmm.
don't hear each other, I don't understand. Because, like,
Yeah.
basically adjacent rooms. Um, so anyway, they like meet up in the kitchen after their respective phone calls, and he hands her coffee, telling her Happy Valentine's Day, and we get first Chenford kiss, and Tim tells Lucy she's gonna love what he got her, and she's like same, and they like as they both are going out the door for the day, um,
Mhm.
which I have to wonder how their like ride into work was then, if we assume that they always ride
Yeah.
together. Like, how was that? If they were both just like, you're gonna love my gift. Oh, same. Okay. And then
Hmm.
it's not like, is it awkward silence? Is it what, like,
Yeah.
are they just trying to talk about, everything else under the sun so they don't talk about their
Right.
gifts? Or like, honestly, I could picture like Lucy secretly like trying to like text bomb Jenny or something as she's like stuck in traffic, being like,
Yeah.
okay, I did this and this and this, like give me ideas and all this stuff.
Hmm.
But
I love that Jenny
anyway,
was just like a what, like just in the middle of it
right.
all. She didn't
Yeah.
even like ask to be, no one like decided she was. She's just in the middle of it all.
Yep.
So,
It was funny. We do see Lucy on patrol later with Celina and asks if a watch would be a good backup gift idea for Tim. And Celina asks her if Tim needs a watch. No, but he also doesn't need a signed baseball. So, you know, um, they kind of don't really say much more than that. Because the next time we see Tim and Lucy, they're again on their phones, in adjacent rooms just at the station. And Lucy's on the phone with Jenny again, asking her what the cover of that one book that Tim used to have, like when times got tough, looked like.
mhm.
And Jenny describes it for Lucy, and she goes off that, like saying, okay, I'm going to go work off that, try to find this book. Um, and meanwhile, in his office, Tim's on the phone with the skincare people, telling them, it never arrived from Korea. And he's like all exasperated and is just like, okay, fine, just transfer me to the jewelry department. So obviously that's where he's headed now. Um, and so we don't see them do anything more with the gifts until we get to Nolan's house during Wesley's event. And we see Lucy pull Tim aside and get his mind out of the gutter when they land in the spare room. Like, that was awkward,
Yeah, it was.
especially given whose house it's in. Like, hello.
Yeah.
So weird, like random. Um, but anyway, so Lucy had pulled him aside to give him her backup gift. And he, sees the book and like obviously it's the right one. And Lucy even got it signed for him. And, he's like, that's the most, like greatest gift ever. And he loves it. He loves her. And they like kiss again. But then he like is like being awkward after and is like a split second later is like, I'll be right back. And then he speeds over to Jenny during the
Yeah.
party, like telling her about the book. Um, and he's like, you knew about this. Okay, great. So now he can't give her a gift because basically jewelry compared to that book is like ridiculous. So he's
Hmm.
gonna have to, quickly book like a Paris trip immediately. Um, so Cut to the next morning, and sure enough, Tim's on the computer looking at flights from LA to Paris when Lucy comes out with the little jewelry box he got her, for the earrings. And, she loves them so much. They're beautiful. And he's glad, but tells her that that was his backup gift because he originally got her the Korean skincare stuff that she loves, but it didn't ship in time. Um, she told him that it's okay. The earrings, match her necklace, so they're perfect. And she confesses that she too bought him a different gift originally. And he said he knows the autographed baseball. He found it behind the washing machine. And she's like really mad that he didn't tell her that he found it. And he wasn't going to because he didn't want her to be mad at him for criticizing her hiding spots. Like they
Mhm.
were so silly during the scene, like typical
We were.
couple. Like
Yeah.
guy doesn't want to tell the girl something for fear of this happening, but then she's just gonna get mad anyway for a different
Yeah.
reason. Like
Yeah.
it was so great.
I
Um,
love how they were so like so just everything needed to be perfect. Like they each needed
yeah,
the most perfect gift ever. And Jenny called them out and she was like, it's not a competition for the best gift. And
right. And he's like,
it's
but
like,
it is.
yeah, but this is their first like Valentine's Day back together. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, of course it has to be perfect.
yeah.
So I also love how Jenny goes to these like police officer events or like fundraisers or whatever because she went last year too. She doesn't know anyone there besides Tim, presumably. Like, and I guess
Well,
Lucy
and
too.
John, but like,
Yeah, and
yeah,
Nolan. But even then, like she's just seen chatting with like some random like officer or whatever. Like,
yeah,
and Tim's like, you could do better. I'm like, no, Jenny just vibes at these events. Like she's just here for all the tea.
yeah,
Yeah. Like she knows certain people, but she's here like to work the room. She's vibing.
yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
I just thought it was good that like Chenford got their like Valentine's Day stuff like out of the way before the whole explosion thing. I
Yeah.
mean, like I thought it was like interesting because I was like, wait, there's still some, more of the episode left or whatever when I was watching it. So I was like, what else is gonna happen? Um, but in the end, I was kind of glad that all the nice things for everyone happened like prior to
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
chaos. So
for sure.
yeah,
So next off we have Bailan and Gray and Luna. I just combined the two because I was like there wasn't enough for like their own thing. So Gray walks into the locker room obviously after Miles deploys the pepper spray. We talk about Wesley's fundraiser being hosted at John's house, and he explains where him and Bailey are at. Gray talks about where him and Luna are at. I really loved this conversation between the two of them. Like they've grown so much in
yeah,
their like working relationship since season one.
yeah.
And it was just really nice to see. Like I know we've pointed it out before, but and then at the same time we cut to the hospital where Luna and Bailey are talking, explaining where each other are at. Like Grace supports Luna 100%. And he's happy for her, but isn't really a fan of her working late. And so hearing all of this gives John a new perspective, and Gray's like, I'm happy. Really, I'm happy. And Gray's like, copy that. Like, sure, yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, Gray. But Bailey arrives at the station to give her arson expertise and, tells John that she found someone to cover the back half of her shift so they can spend Valentine's together. And they just get cringy for a minute.
I
And
know it was so awkward.
she's like, if like, I'm beginning to think that that's like all Bailey thinks about because I saw another clip on Instagram, like it was on a random page, and it was her. I think last season talking about them like hooking up in the back of an ambulance together. And I was like,
Oh,
wait, yeah,
yeah,
why is this like a running thing with her? Like, I
I
don't
don't.
know. I'm just like, nah, no, no. And she's like, if we're too tired to work things out, we can indulge and, like, and John's like, I'm not against that, but that's gonna be really awkward with like a bunch of strangers in the house.
Yeah,
She looks like so just thrown off, and he's like, "Yeah, we're hosting the fundraiser." She's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." I was like, Yeah, Bailey, get your mind out of the gutter, girlfriend. Like,
Right?
so at the fundraiser, we see Gray suggest to Luna designated one night a week as date night. No matter how busy they get, it's always on their calendar. Um, and her reaction to this is kind of funny. And she's like, "Yeah, I appreciate the role reversal. I'm completely empathetic, but also just a little amused because for so long, like, I wanted you to have a normal schedule. And now, roles are reversed." And then we go over and see Jenny Bradford walk up to Nolan with two beers. And she's like, Tim mentioned trouble on the home front and offers him a shoulder to cry on. Okay, I saw M tweet this and she was like, "No, Jen, like I love them. I just like this is a better episode because Jenny Bradford's in it." I don't really see the chemistry between Jenny and Nolan, but I can get behind it. Honestly, I could.
Yeah. Well, if it like wasn't so spaced out their interactions, I could like actually remember the last time they
Yeah.
interacted. That like helped me more. I mean, like I do like very vague in my mind. So I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just like them. I don't mind them. Um, I just thought it was so funny because I'm like, okay, so that means that like John and Tim have talked about his issues. And I'm like, does
Right.
he just tell everyone, like, except for, and that's why like he's so tired to like when it's time to talk to Bailey because he talks to everybody else, like except her. Like I'm
Yeah.
serious though, because like that's what it made it seem like. So I was like, dude, okay, you need to stop talking to everyone but your wife about your issues.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Like John Nolan is a chronic oversharer, so it wouldn't
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
but it was just funny because I was like, okay, so that means that like Tim knows like him and John have like had like
Yeah.
a Berlin moment, and I was like, okay, I'm fine with that
Yeah. But
too.
also like why is Tim telling Jenny? Is she like
Yeah, I don't
asking
know.
what the tea is with all of
I
them? Well,
don't know.
I don't know. I'm just like,
No
okay,
idea.
wait, how did we get here to where Jenny is like, yeah, Tim mentioned that there's trouble on the home front. I'm here as a shoulder to cry on. I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? Are they just
Right?
good
I don't know.
friends? Because
Yeah,
we
I
haven't seen
guess.
much of that.
Right?
But I don't know. I'm just like, all right, I'm not against it, but at the same time, like, I don't know. And then Bailey walks up and I was like, wow, this is awkward.
It really is just the episode of like awkward moments for triangles that don't even
Uh,
have to be romantic. You can just literally draw a freaking triangle in the
yeah,
awkward space that they have left,
yeah.
is basically what that is.
They're not even like that awkward. They're not even like real love triangles. It's
No.
all triangles that like there's like blurred lines or fans are kind of like, oh, like these two are like a dotted line. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so freaking funny. So Jenny doesn't even say anything. She like greets Bailey and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go now. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
would too, because this is just awkward.
Yeah.
So Bailey hands John a little like box, and I was like, okay, is this the right place to do this? Probably not, but like they also don't know timing. So
Yeah.
um so John opens his gift and it's, Bailey essentially telling him that she's not going to DC. She's like, you've always been there for me and I realized how hard it must have been for, you to tell me no about DC and realized I was listening instead of listening, I was running away from the conversation. She's like, I don't want to be anywhere you're not. Okay, nice. But like also that's not the end of it because we know it's too early for that. So Bailey and John are walking through the hospital and she tells him, next time to leave the fire rescue for the professionals. And he's like, you should go to DC. He says that they're strong enough to navigate the separation and she really wants it. And he was like, I took it personally. It was never about us. And she thinks that he's assuming she'll get bored of this in a year and chase a new challenge back home. And he's like, is that what I'm saying? I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. But
Yeah.
also, like, I could see it happening. So all is good with them, judging by the episode description for next week. Like, they're doing long distance. So, yeah. I don't know,
Yeah.
but if Jenny Bradford comes back a few times, long distance, I don't know. I'm really just feeding into the whole Nolan and Jenny shippers. I don't know. I don't even know
Yeah.
how many people out there ship them, but I know our friend M does. And when I saw her
Yeah.
tweeting that, it was like, this is
Oh,
gonna get real awkward.
I've seen other people talking about like Bailan bones just as Jenny's coming back or something. I don't know. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like everyone just wants John with someone else. I'm like, okay. I don't know. Lopez and Chenford are thriving, and that's like what matters most to me. Sorry. But
Right. And then like
yeah.
next week we'll see more of Jayla. So we just like
Uh-huh.
stay winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Any other notes for this episode though?
no, I really need to like not talk except for the outro because my voice is ridiculous. So apologies.
Yeah, this was a good episode. We could
Yeah,
probably just leave it there.
honestly, yeah, fair. Well, on that lovely note, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. And you can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And I'm at jstark804.
We are on TikTok at the Shop Talk Podcast underscore. And we also have merch at shop-talk.dashery.com. So be sure to check that out and give us a follow there too. And we'll be back next week with our 807 recap, and that'll drop next Wednesday. So, yeah, with that, we'll see you guys then.
Bye everyone.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.